Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Love Cooking, and I love fajitas. Yes, like Oprah loves bread, I love fajitas. And I'll tell you this much, they can be a little bit intimidating to make, and they're not the greatest thing to do in an Instant Pot. It's a little tricky to make them in the Instant Pot because it's really more of a saute thing, and you really gotta get, you know, the right thing going on with those fajitas with like the char and all that. So I said, I wanna do a fajita, but I wanna make it as a soup. So it's not gonna be quite like a fajita, but it's gonna have the flavors of a fajita in a soup, and lower the carb count because we're not going to use tortillas here. We're just going to make this a wonderful chicken soup with a fajita flair to it. So think of it as like a chicken soup with fajita. You know what I mean? A little bit of touch. It's going to be amazing. It's done with very few ingredients overall. I'm fogging my glasses up, and we're just going to go right to the Instant Pot and make the most wonderful, comforting, warming fajita soup, because let's face it, the weather's changing right now from the summer to the chilly. I'm filming this in the end of September of 2022, and this is going to be the perfect soup to sit on the couch with a big bowl, curl up, put your favorite show on, sit under a Snuggie or something, and sip this delicious, delicious, or slurp it, chicken fajita soup right in the Instant Pot. Let's go. These glasses are so foggy. Okay, so the very first thing I think about when I think of fajitas are the vegetables, actually, because you can have any protein. And to me, those vegetables are gonna be peppers, which I'm gonna be using a lot of them, guys, because they're gonna cook down into nothing. I'm using 5 bell peppers. You can use any variety. I like to do some extra color in there to make it extra pretty. I'm using 2 green, 1 red, 1 orange, 1 yellow, and look, it looks like a little face. Look at that. The eyes, the nose, the mouth. Anyway, we're gonna take all these peppers, and I've sliced them up into strips or strands, whatever term you want to use there, about a 1/4 inch or so thick, maybe even a 1/2 inch, that's fine. And again, it seems like there's a lot of peppers here, but believe me, they're gonna cook down into nothing and totally necessary for a chicken fajita stew, right? All right, we'll come right back to you in a second. All right, and that second veggie I always think about when I'm having fajitas are onions. Can't have fajitas, in my opinion, without some peppers and onions. I'm using a lot of them for this, guys. Again, they're gonna cook down, and I feel like it's totally necessary. And again, this is a stew. This is an incredible, delicious chicken fajita stew. I wanna use 4 onions, and you can use any kind you want, but I'm using 2 red and 2 sweet or Vidalia onions that, like the peppers, I've also sliced into strands or strips about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch thick. That's fine, and I've just added it to the same bowls that the peppers are in. See the peppers down below? There they go, there they are. See them? Nice and colorful. All right, that's a lot of veggies, so get a big bowl for this, and I'm telling you, it seems like a ton right now, but they will cook down into nothing, and it's going to just truly enhance this fantastic chicken fajita soup. All right, now that the prep's over, let's get cooking. All right, so the next thing I need is my Instant Pot. You can use any model for this. You can use an 8-quart, you can use a 6-quart, which this is, or a 3-quart. If you use a 3-quart, just have the recipe. I want to add in a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, which I've already added into the pot, actually. And then I hit saute, and it is heating up right now. So hit that saute button, let it heat up for about 3 minutes, and when it gets nice and hot, that oil, we're going to add all those onions and peppers, or peppers and onions, whichever way you want to call it. Okay, and after about 3 minutes of heating up that vegetable oil, take all those veggies, there's a lot here, and put them in the pot. It's gonna basically fill your pot right up to the brim, and that's totally fine because this is gonna cook down. In the meantime, just let it rest here for about 3 minutes before we even bother going in there and digging under. Let everything that's underneath it begin to cook down first. All right, after a few minutes of everything sauteing in the bottom of the pot here, get in there with like a mixing spoon or wooden spatula. Just lightly give it a little bit of a stir, trying to flip some things around. I promise you this will cook down a bit. It'll make it much easier in just a few moments. Basically gonna cook down to about half the height that it is when we first put it into the pot. And you'll see after about, 3 to 5 minutes of just letting the onions rest in the pot, you're gonna be able to get under there more easily and give everything a stir. It's already beginning to shrink and reduce a bit. Good. So this is the most time consuming and literally the most challenging part of this recipe, and it's not even challenging at all. But I promise you it is all worth it when you do it. Trust me on this, it is all worth it. And you can multitask while you're doing this. You can talk on the phone, you can FaceTime, you can pull your Peloton up to the kitchen and just ride on it while you're doing this. Multitasking is great. And during this 10 to 15 minutes, just set and stir, meaning just let it rest for a few minutes and then get in there and give it a stir every so often. Each time you stir, you're gonna see it's gonna reduce. We're already about halfway down to as much as we want it to go. And after about 10 to 15 minutes of sauteing, which is really just setting and stirring, you're gonna see it will have reduced down about half the size. Everything will have softened up a bit. Doesn't have to be super soft, just kind of soft to the mix, you'll feel. And it's gonna be very, very soft after it pressure cooks. We're good. We just wanna make sure that all the veggies that we first put into the pot before they started getting all heated up in the oil have reduced down by about half. So this is perfect. All right, let's move on. I wanna add to the pot 6 cups of broth of your choice. I'm using chicken broth. 1 tablespoon of either seasoned salt, or what I like to use is a Creole, Cajun, or Louisiana seasoning. I like Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Believe it or not, it's actually really great in the soup, but seasoned salt will be fine as well. And for me also, fajitas aren't complete without some rice. I'm using, I got like a 7-ounce package of like arroz amarillo or yellow rice, and I've used about a half a cup of it total. So about a half a cup, but you can use any rice you want. You can use white rice, a long grain, a jasmine, basmati. You can use a brown rice, it doesn't matter. Use about a half a cup. I do like the arroz amarillo because it adds a little bit of extra seasoning to it, but it doesn't make any difference. This is already gonna be very, very wonderfully richly flavored regardless. And we're gonna give everything a stir in the pot. Make sure that all of the broth is stirred with the seasonings and the veggies so they're nice and submerged in that broth. Lovely. And by the way, you can add up to a whole cup of rice. I only added a half a cup because don't forget, it's gonna be very, very soupy regardless of what you use, but don't forget that rice will always continue to absorb what's around it. So if you just have leftovers of this or let it rest out for a while, it's eventually just going to become more of a rice dish than anything else, which is fine. It won't be as soupy, but I would suggest a half a cup. Right, a full cup is fine if you're going to eat the entire pot at once, okay? And then lastly, I'm going to add in about 3 to 3.5 pounds of chicken. I am going to use a mix of whole chicken breasts. Make sure you put the whole thing in there. We don't even have to pre-cut this or anything beforehand. You'll see afterwards why. And I'm using thighs. Boneless, skinless thighs. Boneless, skinless breasts, a mix, just keep them whole. Could not be easier. And we have some room left at the top, which is good and important because the chicken and veggies are gonna also give off more liquids and waters as they cook. So we're ready to pressure cook. Very simple so far. Yes, this pot is definitely going to be a party when it's done, a fiesta. Secure your lid, make sure that it's in the sealing position, and then we'll come back down to our control panel, and then we're gonna hit the cancel button, followed by the pressure cook button, and I wanna go for 15 minutes at high pressure. That's it, 15 minutes. And now that we're done pressure cooking, we'll perform a quick release. And the pin just dropped, so we're gonna take the lid off the pot. Oh yeah, that's filled to the brim. First thing I wanna do now is I wanna take those tongs again and make sure they're clean, remove that chicken, and put it in a bowl. All right, and there we go. All the chicken out of the pot in the bowl. Now to the pot, I wanna add in 1 packet of fajita seasoning mix. I wanna add this at the very end because it's gonna really make the flavor more prominent there. And 2 cups of shredded Mexican cheese blend or taco cheese, whatever, 2 cups is good. And we're gonna stir that around in the pots. All right, that's looking wonderful. Okay, now let's let that rest and we're gonna go back to our chicken. So we have our chicken in the big bowl. Take 2 big forks, or you can use a hand mixer. Either one will be fine. And this is just gonna shred apart. Just shred all of the chicken meat up. Okay, that looks perfect. I like it just like this. Again, you can go further if you want. And a hand mixer will actually really shred it finely, but perfect for me like that. All right, now back to the soup. Here's our chicken. Just simply add it right back in. And then just stir that chicken in with the soup. And you're gonna see you have the most amazing chicken fajita soup. Now you see all those veggies, they really did cook down. It doesn't feel anywhere near as crazy when we first put them in. They filled the entire pot to the brim. They've really cooked down. And to really get that substantial amount of veggies, the onion and pepper, it's a little steamy in here, you really do need that amount. Now you might not see much rice right now, but believe me, it is in the soup, and as it continues to rest, that rice, like I said, will continue to absorb. You see it? It's in there. You can see some strands of rice, or grains of rice. Sorry for the fog, even with the it's hot soup, you know, what are you gonna do? Even with the fan going, it's hot soup. Alright, now we're gonna ladle this into some bowls and try this deliciousness out. Look at that. Alright, here we go. Plenty of chicken and all the goodies in there. Make sure you really top it off with some of those peppers and onion, make it look beautiful. And then if you want, you could top it with some cheese. I'm gonna put it around the side because I love some cheese in my fajitas. And you can put some tortilla strips also if you want to go there. Have fun. Your soup, your rules, looks gorgeous, especially with that nice trifecta of color there. And also, it's worth noting now, the soup has rested for about 10 minutes, and look as I get to the bottom and I stir everything up, you'll see there's a lot more rice prevalent at this point because it continues to absorb the broth. It's in there, believe me. So if you want to add up to a cup, you can, but remember that's double the rice and it's going to very quickly absorb the broth, especially when it's cooled, but there's plenty of rice. Look at all that, plenty of rice in this soup. And now, I'm ready to try this out. Look at how delicious this looks. I mean, look at it. You seeing this? Gorgeous. Let's try it out. And here it is, my chicken fajita soup. Let's give this a shot. Look at how beautiful already. Look at this. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It tastes like a fajita in a soup, which is a good thing. That's exactly what it should. It's like a, your favorite chicken tortilla soup, but fajita style. That fajita seasoning at the end, it really does add everything to this. You can see some of the rice in there too. Oh, it's so perfect, the flavor. It's not overkill, it's certainly not over salty at all. It's just the right amount of savory with some sweet in there as well with those Vidalia onions. The chicken is so tender. It is just perfect. This is basically like fajita style chicken soup, exactly what it is. It is delicious, it's easy to make, not that many ingredients, and it's gonna make a nice amount. You can always have the recipe, absolutely have it if you want. And if you don't want the dairy, you don't have to add the cheese. It's just a nice little extra touch that it adds to the dish. Whether you mix it into the soup or just add it at the end, you don't have to add it though. But this is the perfect recipe for the brisk chilly weather that's upon us for this season. I love that about this season. That's what makes the season so great, is soup season. Soup, look at that pepper. Pepper depper. Got a yellow pepper here. Man, do I love soups. If you enjoy these recipes that are super easy, you never have to have cooked a day in your life, and you want to make a ton just like this that are easy, simple, quick, check out any of my cookbooks. I have 3 in print right now. The orange one, which is the original, the blue one, which is lighter cooking, the yellow one, which is comfort food, and the 4th one, which is super shortcut. That's the green book. That comes out in April of 2023, in just about 6 months from this video, and it'll be here before you know it. Don't worry, pre-order it. Get the books. Every single book, every single one has beautiful step-by-step color photos for every step, as well as showing you what every finished recipe will look like. You see this? No guessing, a timing bar telling you exactly how long every recipe will take from start to finish. Who could ask for more, really? Check me out on facebook.com/pressurelookcooking. Make sure you like the page and make sure you click the little following thing and make sure you see first or make it one of your favorites. Every so often, Facebook flips it back. I don't know why it does that. Just make sure you're on top of that so you don't miss anything. You don't want to miss all this good stuff. And at Pressure Look Cooking on my other social channels, Instagram, yeah, all that other stuff. YouTube, of course, subscribe there. Thank you so much again for watching. And the next time you crave some fajitas and then you want to eat something that's not quite as carb heavy, well, make this chicken fajita soup and then say, fajita, I'm gonna eat ya. Eat it, fajita, eat ya. You know, I'm working hard on that one. Whatever, you know, I'm just gonna take another spoonful of this so I stop talking. Enjoy.